Joe Rogan has insisted on calling off the bout between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul. The UFC Hall of Famer, Michael Bisping, is adamant that Tyson's recent health emergency on May 26, while traveling from Miami, warrants the cancellation of the fight. Los Angeles, as a result of the health problem and the altercation on his YouTube channel, the 57-year-old developed an ulcer flare-up that required medical attention. Bisping claimed that the proverb, "there is no such thing as bad press," did not address this case. In addition, Bisping stated that doctors had to hurry paramedics onto the aircraft due to a medical situation involving Mike Tyson. Get on the aircraft to help remove Tyson, saying that the publicity around someone seeking to promote a fight at the age of 58 was not favorable. Despite expressing admiration for the combat sports legend, Jake Paul responded to rumors on social media that the fight would be canceled in the wake of Tyson's health scare by saying nothing has changed. Because of the stark mismatch and the considerable 30-year age disparity, Bisping protested the fight's continuation. Bisping said he respected Tyson and acknowledged that facing Jake Paul required a great deal of bravery, suggested that the episode might have been brought on by an ulcer flare-up, despite the fact that he acknowledged little knowledge of ulcers. Additionally, Bisping made the observation that a man who is almost 58 years old shouldn't have any trouble spending a few hours sitting on an aircraft, meaning that a person in their prime wouldn't encounter similar issues, and I don't have any issues with mine. Furthermore, Jake Paul said that this event demonstrated why a fight like this shouldn't go on, and Bisping stressed that the circumstances provided a poor image for boxing. Although Bisping made it clear that he wasn't disparaging Mike Tyson, he acknowledged, using the metaphor, that the ship had sailed and the plane had left the runway, albeit delayed because it was hot on the plane, which he speculated might have caused Tyson's ulcer to flare up. He noted that Tyson's time had passed. Tyson wants to test the waters, make some money, and feel alive by doing what he does best. Rick Hatton believes that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul should call off their fight. The 45-year-old Hatton, in a candid and intense conversation with Lord Ping, vehemently called for intervention to prevent the two from clashing, emphasizing the need to protect Tyson's well-being and preserve the integrity of the boxing match. Sports integrity exploded. To be honest, I believe it's a huge mess. Someone needs to speak up and attempt to stop it. I've always maintained that influencer fighting games are for entertainment purposes only, and I have no problem with influencers or boxing. If people want to watch it, that's okay. Let's just refer to it as amusement. Hatton continued, saying that influencer boxing and conventional boxing could coexist as long as the major. Though Hatton expressed no ill will towards those who profited from the fights, wishing Tommy Fury, KSI, Jake Paul, and others luck, he called this particular fight a complete fiasco and called for someone to step in and take charge of the situation. He maintained that while YouTubers fighting wasn't hurting the sport, boxing was hurting itself by not making the big fights happen. Conversations in the entertainment industry should respect certain boundaries. The Manchester-based ex-boxer claimed that if he hurt Tyson badly, Paul would be distraught. In their match, Hatton stated that if he were to knock out the world's most famous guy, he would be taking out one of his heroes. How could he live with that on his conscience? It doesn't matter how much money is at stake. How would you feel about it? Possess the ability to see oneself in the mirror. I find it to be absurd. It's a joke. Despite the outrage, nothing in the boxing and entertainment industries shocks me. Mike is adamant about moving through with the fight, but Paul responded to an insult from the former heavyweight champion Tyson on Instagram, making it very evident that he was choosing the digital platform of the social media platform. He's been to his former stomping grounds on a number of occasions. With Paul having only fought 10 times, Tyson's casual claim that he wouldn't even need full throttle, implying that he could secure victory even at less than optimal performance, raised eyebrows when he made his commitment to the upcoming fight official via digital decree on July 20th in Arlington, Texas. Tyson's formidable 58-fight resume throws a scary shadow over the upcoming showdown, so Paul has decided to locate some. With only 3 words in response, the problem child gave Tyson the upper hand by saying, "Hey, that's me." There was a small amount of humor in the situation. The problem child reacted to Tyson's poking in a way that might be deemed more brutal than furious. Joe Rogan has voiced grave worries for Mike Tyson's safety, believing that Jake Paul may cause the boxing legend great harm. Rogan has also brought attention to the possibility that Tyson could suffer fatalities in the much-awaited matchup with Paul. Boxing fans were already outraged by Tyson's significant age difference. He will be 31 years older than Paul at the battle, even before the fight was formally approved. In a recent episode of the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, Rogan expressed his concerns about a disastrous outcome. Joe Rogan noted that there was still uncertainty around the fight's approval, noting protests that can lead to their rejection. It's important to note that this episode was taped a few weeks ago, and since then, official sanction for the fight has been granted, taking the situation into consideration. In light of the potential consequences, Tyson warned that there would be serious worries raised if he were to suffer serious injuries or, in the worst-case scenario, pass away during the fight. Even though Rogan genuinely worries about Tyson's health, he hasn't ruled out the prospect of Iron Mike making a comeback and possibly defeating Paul in the UFC. A pundit conjectured that Tyson would provide a serious challenge to Paul if he were to reclaim even 70% of his previous level of physical proficiency, particularly considering that Tyson's strength, as demonstrated by his bag work, seemed to be on par with that of any contender. Rogan brought up Tyson's past medical difficulties, including his severe sciatica, which had previously required him to use a cane. Rogan acknowledged the treatment's capacity to transform. For example, stem cell therapy suggested that Tyson was likely receiving extraordinary medical care. Remarkably, Rogan noted that Tyson might remain extremely profitable at the age of 57 if he continued to be in good physical shape, a finding they found truly astounding. Even though many doubt Mike Tyson, veteran UFC analyst Joe Rogan suggests that Tyson has a special advantage that could help him win. What does this benefit entail? Hormone replacement therapy, HRT, is being mentioned by Rogan. The relationship between Mike Tyson and HRT is widely known, and Rogan has. In a recent episode of the JRE podcast, 50-year-old Rogan told his guest Max Holloway that HRT might be quite beneficial for people in their 50s, setting it apart from other therapies. We have previously discussed the advantages Tyson has received from this treatment. Joe Rogan brought out an intriguing aspect of the Jake vs. Mike match, pointing out the current situation involving elder sportsmen and how it benefits today's senior people. From what he referred to as hormone replacement therapy, in light of Jake's recent disclosure that he weighs 230 pounds in preparation for his fight with Mike Tyson, Game Changer Rogan hinted that Jake might be in for a surprise from Mike on July 20. Max Holloway brought up the widely shared videos of Mike Tyson's training that have gone viral on social media. Holloway and Joe Rogan think Tyson has a chance to overcome Jake after seeing these videos. In particular, Paul Holloway believes that a knockout, the 57-year-old Tyson's victory, is he recommended that Tyson enter the ring and perform exactly as he did in the videos, asking Rogan if he had seen the footage of Tyson in action. In light of the significant age, the UFC commentator acknowledged that he had little knowledge of Tyson's current physical condition, particularly given that he is the youngest heavyweight boxing champion. Nevertheless, Rogan suggested a possible strategy for Tyson to secure a victory by applying relentless pressure on Paul from the first bell. Mike Tyson's potential strength was mentioned in the first round, with Rogan raising concerns about his stamina, and, physically, he observed a lack of understanding of Mike Tyson's back, joints, and general health. Although there is conjecture regarding Mike Tyson's potential comeback, the fight's result is still unknown until July 20th.